Part 2, Unit 20, Gateway. In one experiment, children were told they could have one marshmallow treat if they chose to eat it immediately, but 2 treats if they waited. Most of the children, who ranged in age from 4 to 8, chose to wait, but the strategies they used differed significantly. The 4-year-olds often chose to look at the marshmallows while waiting, a strategy that was not terribly effective. In contrast, 6 and 8-year-olds used language to help overcome temptation, although in different ways. The 6-year-olds spoke and sang to themselves, reminding themselves they would get more treats if they waited. The 8-year-olds focused on aspects of the marshmallows unrelated to taste, such as appearance, which helped them to wait. In short, children used self-talk to regulate their behavior. Exercise 1. It's a false belief to think that you are either a big-picture thinker or a detail-oriented person. You cannot be a big-picture thinker without knowing the supporting facts, or else you would be an empty suit. The brain power of Zoom In requires attending to facts, content, and the situation at hand. Gathering facts and using them to support a novel approach is essential to enhancing integrated reasoning and deeper-level thinking. However, it's a delicate balance of knowing when to gather more information and knowing when to stop looking for more facts to develop a point of view. The key is to toggle back and forth from the immense raw details to form high-level ideas. It is not enough to understand all the facts. It is highly critical to fit them into a larger schema. Exercise 2. There are a number of reasons to be concerned about language attrition. Language is a key part of each person's identity and is an essential component of a group's cultural and social heritage. Local communities who have lost their language speak about it as a deeply cultural loss, which is accompanied by a loss of a sense of self. Speakers whose languages are not endangered are also aware of the importance of language as a marker of identity and pay great attention to differences in dialects and speech patterns. Thus, perhaps one of the most compelling reasons to be concerned about language endangerment is that the speakers who lost this part of their heritage deeply regret it and grieve over it. For this reason, so many different communities around the world are currently engaged in language revitalization efforts. Some of those groups whose languages are extinct are now attempting to resurrect them from whatever records have survived. Exercise 3. Humans progress by building more and better tools. They want more tools to generate higher and yet higher standards of living. Economists as late as the early 1950s worried that the Great Depression would resume after World War II because of satiated wants. Having everything he or she could imagine, the consumer would want nothing else, tool building would stop, and economic growth would dry up. But satiated wants are not part of human nature. Unlike other animal species, we do not stop building when we are well fed, warm, and dry. Our imagination of what might be is always ahead of the reality. There is no limit to the new things we want. Exercise 4. Routines are beneficial because they allow us to get things done without much thought. For example, if every morning you had to relearn how to dress yourself or cook your breakfast, you'd never make it to work on time. Routines can be harmful, however, if they prevent us from developing a fresh perspective. They are most dangerous when we are least conscious of the extent to which our perception and cognition are guided by them. Sometimes our habits become so integral to our thinking that we fail to identify them as habits and instead consider them the way things are done. Thus, we need an occasional shock to shake us out of our mental patterns. I call this shock a whack on the side of the head, and it can stimulate us to ask the questions that lead us to new answers.